Have you ever noticed that the moment things become quiet, you immediately reach for your phone? Maybe you open TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, not because you really want to watch anything, but because silence feels strange, almost uncomfortable. Most people think they are afraid of being alone, but I don't think that's true. I think most people are afraid of being alone with their own thoughts, because when everything becomes quiet, the distractions disappear, and suddenly you're left with yourself, your worries, your regrets, your unanswered questions, the emotions you've been avoiding. And that's exactly why silence has become one of the rarest things in modern life. But what if this uncomfortable silence isn't your enemy? What if it's actually the most honest mirror you'll ever have? Because until you can sit quietly with yourself, you may never truly know who you are. Think about the last time you were completely alone, with no distractions, no music, no scrolling, no television in the background, no notifications, no conversations, just you. For many people, that moment almost never happens anymore. The world has become incredibly noisy. We wake up and immediately check our phones. We eat while watching videos. We work with music playing. We fall asleep listening to podcasts. Even during the few moments when life naturally becomes quiet, we quickly fill the silence with something, anything, because silence feels empty. But maybe it doesn't feel empty. Maybe it feels too full, because silence doesn't create our thoughts, it reveals them. Imagine a lake. When the water is constantly moving, you can't see what's underneath. But when the water becomes still, everything hidden starts becoming visible. The same thing happens inside our minds. As long as life stays noisy, we can avoid looking inward. We can keep running, keep distracting ourselves, keep pretending everything is okay. But the moment things become quiet, all the emotions we've pushed aside slowly rise to the surface. The loneliness, the sadness, the fear, the anger, the feeling that maybe we aren't living the life we truly want. And that's why many people fear silence. Not because silence itself is painful, but because truth can be painful. Our world today almost encourages us to avoid ourselves. Notifications are everywhere. Every app competes for our attention. Every platform wants us to keep scrolling. And after a while, we become addicted to external noise. Not necessarily because the content is meaningful, but because it keeps us from hearing our own minds. Sometimes people don't even realize they're exhausted. They think they need another video, another conversation, another distraction. But what they actually need is a moment of stillness, a moment to finally ask themselves, how am I really feeling? What have I been avoiding? What is bothering me that I haven't dealt with? These questions rarely appear in the middle of noise. They appear in silence. And that's why silence can feel so uncomfortable at first, because it removes the escape routes. Suddenly, there's nowhere to run. You meet yourself, the version of you that exists beneath the roles you play for everyone else. And honestly, that can be terrifying. Many people spend years trying to understand themselves. They read books, watch psychology videos, take personality tests, but sometimes the answers they're looking for are already inside them. They just haven't been quiet long enough to hear them. Silence is like an emotional mirror. It shows you things you didn't know were there. Maybe you've been carrying resentment. Maybe you're grieving something you never fully processed. Maybe you're burned out. Maybe you've been trying so hard to please everyone that you've forgotten what you actually want. These things don't disappear. because we ignore them. They simply wait, and silence gives them space to speak. There is a reason why so many people suddenly feel emotional during long walks, late nights, or moments spent alone. Because when external stimulation decreases, internal awareness increases. Your mind finally has room to breathe. Your emotions finally have room to surface. And while that can be uncomfortable, it is also incredibly healing. Because you cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge. You cannot understand emotions that you never allow yourself to feel. And you cannot build a genuine relationship with yourself if you're constantly running away from your own inner world. The truth is, many of us know more about other people than we know about ourselves. We know what everyone expects from us. We know what society values. We know what trends are popular. But ask yourself this: when was the last time you sat quietly and genuinely listened to yourself? Not your fears, not society's opinions, not what everyone else wants. You. What do you actually want? What makes you happy? What is hurting you? What are you pretending doesn't bother you? These answers often appear in silence. And no, silence isn't always peaceful. Sometimes it feels messy. Sometimes you remember painful memories. Sometimes you realize you've been ignoring problems for a long time. But that discomfort isn't a sign that silence is bad. It's a sign that something inside you needs attention. Think of it like cleaning a room. At first, everything looks worse because you've pulled all the hidden mess into the open. But only then can you begin to clean it. Silence works the same way. It brings hidden emotions into the light. And once you see them clearly, you can finally start healing. The people who become deeply self-aware are not necessarily the smartest people. Often, they are simply the people who have learned how to sit with themselves, to listen, to reflect, to become comfortable with moments that others constantly try to escape. Because eventually, you realize something powerful. The silence you feared wasn't empty. It was full of answers. It was showing you what needed healing, what needed changing, what needed letting go. And perhaps most importantly, who you truly are beneath all the noise. Maybe that's why so many people avoid silence. Because deep down, they know it might change them. It might force them to face truths they've been avoiding. But it might also reconnect them with parts of themselves they've forgotten. So tonight, before reaching for another distraction, try sitting quietly for a few minutes. No music, no scrolling, no notifications, just you. It may feel uncomfortable, but don't run from it, because the person you've been trying to understand all this time might finally start speaking. And for the first time in a long time, you might actually hear them.